I just tell the truth, and telling the truth is crazy in a world full of lies. If you mix brilliance with bravery, that we can ignite something. Even this conversation alone can ignite the people.
The time is now to express and for people to believe in themselves. The time is now for it to be okay to be great. People in this world shun people for being great, for being a bright color, for standing out. But the time is now to be okay to be the greatest you.
Hey guys, what's up? It's your girl Kelly, and we are back with another video. If you guys are new to the channel and you enjoy true crime stories, news, politics, and so much more, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, guys. I really would appreciate it. And if you are a returning listener, subscriber, well, thank you guys, as always, for being a friend. I really appreciate y'all. And please like the video if you like it. Give me a comment, whatever you can do. It really does help me out, and it's a free way to do so. And I thank everyone in advance for watching this video.
You know the thing.
So let's get right into it. What is up, you guys? Okay, so let's just jump right in. So we're going to be talking about Biden and what the hell is going on with this absolute empty suit of a president that we supposedly have, you know, quote, president. And where the hell has he been? There's been rumors circulating all over Twitter, just going, you know, crazy, the amount of speculation there has been on what has happened to Biden, why all of a sudden he's dropped out of the race on Twitter, and then nobody's seen him for like going on a week now. People are speculating that he's dead. Is he dying? Is he comatose? Are they trying to cook up a new clone for him? It's just not quite ready yet. For a party that claims that they want to restore democracy, they want to protect democracy, you know, democracy is on the ballot, in fact, guys. But it's funny because we've heard this expression time and time again, you know, democracy on the ballot. We have to protect democracy. Joe Biden saved democracy. For a party that just loves democracy so much, it's crazy to me how they never can seem to actually apply that principle to any of their own primaries or elections. It's just wild to me. So now they're not going to have a democratic process. They're going to have a selection process. And it seems like they've already made their selection. So I want to get into a little bit of the history of that and just the fact that, you know, if you're a Democrat, you have not had a legitimate primary where you got to vote for an actual candidate that had a path to being the nominee for the past 3 election cycles, maybe even further back than that, who knows. And then until Donald Trump came along, you know, probably it was the same for Republicans, but either way, it's like, it's crazy to me how people are just going along with this now and not having any pushback against the Democratic Party, who has just basically told their constituents, hey, you all can go kick rocks, okay? We don't give a flying flip about what you all think. We're going to do whatever it is the hell we want to do right in your face, and you're going to like it. And the Democratic Party constituents said, yes, please, I'll have some more. So we're going to get into it, guys. But before we do that, okay, the Secret Service Director, Kim Cheadle, woman, by the way, she was over on Capitol Hill under a congressional subpoena, getting her ass absolutely handed to her. And it was, I mean, beautiful to see. It was chef's kisses. It was a magical moment, okay? And I have to say that a lot of these hearings are theater, and they're not to really be taken seriously, but every now and then you will get moments where, even if it is theater, even if it is just all bloviating madness and bullshit, it doesn't really matter when you get a moment like the moment that was brought to us by Nancy Mace. So I want to play her whole entire 5 minutes and react to that, and then I want to play a couple other moments from just a couple people, because I was actually impressed, and I tweeted this, that, you know, the Democrats and the progressives, some of them actually impressed me, and that they were nonpartisan, and that I actually enjoyed their questioning and their line of questioning, and the way that they seem to be taking it seriously in directing their frustration and their calls for resignation towards this absolute disaster and disgrace of a person who was heading up the Secret Service and almost was responsible for having Donald Trump murdered on live TV. So I'm going to play Nancy Mace, and then I'll play just a couple more little small snippets, and then we're going to get into Joe Biden and whether or not he's dead, okay?
I have a series of questions, very specific questions. I want very specific answers. Most of my questions are going to demand a yes or no answer. Do you understand?
I do.
Okay, my first question. Both sides of the aisle today have asked for your resignation. Would you like to use my 5 minutes to draft your resignation letter, yes or no?
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Was this a colossal failure?
It was a failure.
Yes or no? Was it a colossal failure is the question. Yes or no?
I have admitted this is a terrible...
This is a yes or no
Girl.
series of questions. Was this a colossal failure? Yes or no?
Yes.
Don't piss her off.
Was this tragedy preventable? Yes or no?
Yes.
Has the Secret Service been transparent with this committee?
Yes.
Would you say the fact that we had to issue a subpoena to get you to show up today as being transparent? Yes or no?
I have always been
Yes or no? You didn't want to answer the question.
committee.
We had to issue a subpoena to get you to show up today. That is not transparent, by the way. You stated earlier, Secret Service is not political. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Would you say leaking your opening statement to Punchbowl News, Politico's Playbook, and Washington Post several hours before you sent it to this committee as being political? Yes or no?
I have no idea how my statement got out.
Well, that's bullshit. So, Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask unanimous consent to enter into the record articles by Punchbowl News, Political Playbook, Washington Post, all done at 5:24 a.m., 6:12 a.m., 6:34 a.m., a solid 3 to 4 hours before this committee got your statement.
Without objection, so ordered.
Gathered.
Okay. Is the Secret Service fully cooperating with our committee?
Yes.
Okay, you say you're fully cooperating with this committee. On July 15th, this committee sent you a list of demands of information that we wanted. Has the Secret Service provided this committee a complete list of all law enforcement personnel that were there that day? Have you done that? Have you provided a list to the Oversight Committee? Yes or
I
no?
will have to get back to you on that.
Oh my God.
That is a no. Have you provided all audio and video recordings in your possession to this committee, as we asked on July 15th? Yes or no?
I would have to get back to you.
That is a no. You're full of shit today. You're just being completely dishonest. Mr.
Chairman.
Completely
Mr.
dishonest.
Chairman.
I want to.
Come on.
We have to maintain decorum.
No, we
in this
don't.
committee,
No, we don't.
Any,
No, we don't.
have you provided
upset we
any
get.
and all
Absolutely
memos
not.
to this committee that we've asked you on July 15th? Have you provided all memorandums within the Secret Service?
I would have to get back to you on that.
That is a no. You are being dishonest or lying. Like you're being dishonest here with this committee. These are important questions that the American people want answers to, and you're just dodging and talking around it in generalities. And we had to subpoena you to be here, and you won't even answer the questions. We have asked you repeatedly to answer our questions. This isn't hard. These are not hard questions. Have you provided us all communications from the Secret Service related to that day and that rally? Have you provided this committee? We've asked for this information on July 15th. Have you provided any of this information that this committee has asked of the Secret Service? Any of it?
I'll have to get back to you.
Have you
my
even
God.
read this letter that we sent you? Did you even read this?
Yes.
Okay. And you have said you don't know, you have no idea. Well, the answer is no. We haven't gotten a single document or piece of information or data from you or your agency in related to the rally that we have asked you for. So, was this attempted assassination of Donald Trump a failure of training or execution or both?
I think that those are answers that we need to...
Training, execution, or both? Which one?
I think those are answers.
All right. How many Secret Service personnel
Don't
have
make her
lost
come
their
over
jobs
there.
due to this colossal failure?
At this time, none.
Oh, no. Hell no.
How many Secret Service personnel have been required to take a refresher course on how not to let people shoot Donald Trump?
Oh, my God.
Our personnel are currently operational.
Oh, my God, no.
We are examining the facts of this investigation, and we will make the changes necessary.
What time did law enforcement become aware that there was an individual on the roof with a clear line of sight to President Trump?
I am still verifying timelines.
Of course, 9 days in, you have no answers. How many minutes went by between the time law enforcement saw and took photos of crooks and the shooting? How many minutes?
I am still verifying timelines.
57 minutes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I yield back.
I am shooketh.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Is it over? Is it over? Because what? Woo! Oh my God. When I tell you she snatched my pearls, she snatched them. And she could have had them, actually. I will gladly give them over to her. Because what a queen. I didn't like Nancy Mace, or I didn't really like, I was kind of, indifferent towards her before this hearing. After that line of questioning just now on that woman, I wanted to donate to her campaign. I might still do that because, what a bad bitch that was. My God. That moment, I was like watching it live, like while I was at work, and I literally had to like stop and just like in awe, like watch the entire thing because I was shooketh, okay? Juanita Broderick said, call 911 because Nancy Mace just murdered Cheadle on live TV. And I agree. Has anybody investigated this? Because it was in fact a murder. Absolutely was. For sure. So that was epic. That was completely amazing. And I hate when they throw in the, we need to have some decorum. Can we maintain our decorum? No, we can't. No, we can't. Absolutely not. Decorum me ass, okay? Because what the hell are y'all doing in there? What's going on? Donald Trump almost got his head blown off. You can have decorum back when we have a semblance of a country back, okay? So suck it, whoever said that. She also admitted that, she couldn't confirm how many casings were on that roof and whether or not Crooks was a lone shooter or not. So, I don't know, maybe some of our conspiracy theories might have been onto something or might still be onto something. I don't know. I would love to know more from our people who are supposed to be giving us more information, but we'll probably never get that. So the last thing I want to play is this moment from Representative Pat Fallon, because he just put the cherry on top of Nancy Mace's cake that she baked up and served to this whore who didn't have a single answer to say other than a bunch of blubbering nonsense, like, oh, I never forgive you. It pisses me off when they do that. But these couple of representatives really had to come and gather this woman, and gather they did.
I have never had any long gun training in my life. I own an AR-15, and last time I shot it one time my whole life. It was 6 years ago. That is until Saturday, where we recreated the events in Savoy, Texas. We recreated what happened to Butler. I was lying prone on a sloped roof at 130 yards at 6:30 at night. And I knew that he had a scope. I didn't know what kind, red dot or magnified. So I shot 8 rounds from both. You know what the result was? 15 out of 16 kill shots. And the one I missed would have hit the president's ear. That's a 94% success rate. And that shooter was a better shot than me. It is a miracle President Trump wasn't killed. Corey Comparator's life is over because that damn shooter made it on the roof. And it wasn't the roof that was dangerous. It was a nut job on top of the roof. You know what else is dangerous? I believe your horrifying ineptitude and your lack of skilled leadership is a disgrace. Your obfuscating today is shameful. And you should be fired immediately and go back to Garden Doritos. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Oh my God. No. Oh my good. Not you should go back to Garden Doritos. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah. So that was how she got torn a new asshole. That was the day that Kim Cheadle learned that she now has 2 assholes, and one of them was given to her by the U.S. Congress on this day of July 22nd of 2024. She received her ass chewing of a century, and she still was very much insistent that she was not going to be resigning, and she was not going to be losing her job. And it's absolutely ridiculous in the face of all of this that she is still so indignant about that fact, and the fact that she refuses and even claimed in the hearing that she actually thought she was the best person to lead the Secret Service in this moment in the country. An absolute and utter joke, okay? The fact that she even had the audacity to say that out of her flapping lips is just incredible to me. So, anyhow, moving on. So, guys, what the hell? Where is Joe Biden? Where in the absolute fork is Joe Biden? Because he is MIA, and people are starting to worry and wonder about the state of his, existence. Because We haven't seen him for going on a week now. So not only did he cancel his ongoing campaign to try to win another term as president, fake president, he's also canceled several meetings. He hasn't been back to the White House. He's been holed up in Delaware, and just all kinds of very shady business has been going on. So I just want to play you guys something that I thought was pretty odd before we go into some of the history behind the Democrats and how they actually have been, not really interested in democracy at all, even though they screech about it 24/7, and they try to say that, they try to gaslight and say that everyone else is a threat to democracy if they don't agree with their positions. But in fact, they actually love authoritarianism, and what they actually want is for to enforce their beliefs and to put into positions of power people that are going to enforce and agree with their positions. And if you don't get on the side of that, if you don't agree with their methods, then they will accuse you of doing everything that they in fact do. But before we go into the history of that and how the past three Democratic primaries have been an absolute sham, I just want to play you guys something that, they tried to trot this out as, a proof of life for Joe Biden. And there was this event, because if you guys haven't heard by now, Kamala Harris is now the presumptive nominee for the Democratic ticket, which is an absolute joke. And I think it's hilarious that they think that's their best bet. But who knows? They're probably, there's going to be all kind of cheating and stealing and lying and just absolute utter business as usual, just like they did in 2020. But they, had this event for her where she actually went to Delaware. Oddly enough, some people are wondering what that was about. Why would she just not hold an event at either DC or at a different location somewhere in California, like where she's from? Well, she went to Delaware to go visit Joe, and people are speculating that it's because he's on his deathbed. Well, at this Delaware event, they're trying to big up Kamala and make people excited about the fact that they're basically pulling, a last minute switcheroo. They're basically doing a coup d'etat. And so they tried to and kill two birds with one stone by not only holding this event for Kamala and trying to prop her ass up as somebody who's likable and who could possibly be a president, which is just funny enough as it is, but then they also tried to prove to the public who is speculating on a massive scale about Joe Biden's health and well-being that look guys, he's fine. He's totally fine. Look. And what they did, their way of doing that was to put him on a phone call. Okay, big quotes on that. And I just want to remind you guys before we play that, phone call, what Joe Biden was like just the other day. Okay, this was Joe Biden. And if you guys, I'm sure you all remember, but just to kind of refresh, I want to do a little before and after. Okay, so this is before.
Members of Congress. Debbie's.
Hello?
Debbie? I've got your back.
Do you?
And I've got...
What's so funny?
I got your back as well. Members of Congress, Debbie, Haley, and...
Debbie. Hello?
By the way...
Oh my God.
I want you to know that I've spent a lot of time with Debbie. She's helped me like a lot.
Have you?
And I forget which event we were at, and someone said, "You're his wife, aren't you?" Because she looks like Jill, my wife. And Siri, thank you very much. I can't tell you. Look, we got state leaders, Lieutenant Governor Gilchrist. He's hard to miss. He's 7'3".
Is he?
Secretary of State Benson. LeVar Bourne, Democratic chairman. We got civil rights leaders, faith leaders, labor leaders, including SEIU, CWA, AFL-CIO. Thank you all. And by the way, I don't call it labor, it's simple. Unions. We're going to keep expanding health care. No matter how many times Trump and his MAGA Republicans come after the Affordable Care Act, we will stop them and stop them and stop them. I mean it.
We will stop them and stop them and stop them.
We're going to protect our children. We're going to get weapons of war off the street. We're going to ban assault weapons. Folks, look, more children are killed by a bullet than any other reason in America. They die.
That is not true. And this was actually one of his better moments, okay, in recent years. I wanted to play this one just to show the absolute utter contrast, because despite being this one of his better events that he held since the debate, there was an absolute just travesty and just ended his entire political career and maybe even his life. Does this sound like the Joe Biden that we've all come to know and loathe?
This is Fox News Alert. President Biden called into Kamala Harris in Wilmington, Delaware. Let's listen.
There's so much more we're going to get done. And so I want to say hello to Kamala if she can hear me. I know she's going to be speaking shortly. And I want to say to the team, embrace her. She's the best. I want to call today to thank everybody in this effort. I know yesterday's news was surprising and it's hard for you to hear, but it was the right thing to do. I know it's hard because you poured your heart and soul into me to help us win this thing, help me get this nomination, help me win the nomination, and then go on to win the presidency. But you know, you're an amazing team. But we've got a great. I think we made the right decision. I know how hard you've worked, how many sacrifices you made. And so many of you uprooted your lives for me, and the kind of commitment few people make for anything these days, but you made it. And I've been honored and humbled. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. My word is a Biden, that for all you've done for me and my family. And we built the best campaign in organization in history. I've been doing this, I always kid and say, I know I'm only 40, but I've been around a long time. I don't know of a better campaign organization, grassroots campaign. You know, we have over 230 offices opened. We have over 2,000 paid staff, and we have literally several thousand volunteers on a regular basis, thousands of them. And they've been relentless and tireless in reaching out and contacting voters. The leadership of this campaign has been amazing. Jen O'Malley Dillon, Julie Quinn, Michael Tyler, Rob Flaherty, Rufus on raising money, and so many more. You built this team, you brought them together, you brought us together, you've inspired them, and you've done what leaders do. Now we got to, you know, the name has changed at the top of the ticket, but the mission hasn't changed at all. And by the way, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be out there in the campaign with her, with Kamala. I'm going to be working like hell, both as a sitting president, getting legislation passed, as well as in campaigning. You know, what we still need to save this democracy. And Trump is still a danger to the community. He's a danger to the nation. And just ask my foreign policy colleagues, my counterparts, and other people around the world and at home.
I'm not asking nobody.
So I'm hoping you'll give every bit of your heart and soul that you gave to me to Kamala. And I want you to know, I won't be on the ticket, but I'm still going to be fully engaged. What? I've got 6 months left in my presidency. I'm determined to get as much done as I possibly can, both foreign policy and domestic policy. Keep lowering costs for families, continue to speak out on guns and child care, elder care, prescription drugs, and climate. Climate still is the existential threat that we face, and if we don't win this thing, it's all in jeopardy. And we got to keep working for an end to the war in Gaza. I'll be working very closely with the Israelis and with the Palestinians to try to work out how we can get the Gaza war to end and Middle East peace and get all those hostages home. I think we're on a verge of being able to do that. And we got to keep our alliances together. It's critically important. It took a while for me to build these alliances. Most of these my colleagues have acknowledged that, but it's critically important for our safety and security. And I know I'll be doing whatever Kamala wants me or needs me to do in addition. So let me be real clear. We're still fighting in this fight together. I'm not going anywhere. And I want you to know you've always had my back. And I promise you, I will always have your back. And I'm anxious for you all to hear from Kamala. So thank you, Julie. You're the best.
That's suspicious.
Yeah,
that's weird.
So what do you guys think? Was that Biden? Was that AI Biden? Was that, I don't even know what the hell that was, because that was just an absolute sham. Regardless of what it was, whether or not it was Biden, whether or not Biden's on his deathbed, already dead, whatever. It's a disgrace what they're doing. overall, just by putting this tragic shit show dumpster fire of a woman, Kamala Harris, just placing her into the position to be the nominee without any sort of vetting, without any sort of having to show her work, having to prove herself to the public who's going to be voting for her, supposedly, quote unquote. You know, even though who even knows whose vote counts at this point. It's ridiculous that they would do this, that they would let, you know, the public have all this speculation. And, you know, they say it too. They know the rumors that are going around. They know what people are saying. And instead of, like, having Joe Biden come out or even have a video feed, have an actual video feed from his home, making this supposed statement that was him, it was really him, guys. No. What do? They cause even more speculation. They cause even more confusion by bringing out this ridiculous supposed phone call where he didn't stumble, stutter, or mumble his words or trip over anything or fucking like... And there was none of that. There was none of that, which is not normal, okay? We all know what we've come to expect from this old retard, and yet here we are. Absolutely not. Imagine being in that crowd.
Guys. Thank you.
Oh, people are embarrassing.
Thank you all. Thank you. Can we just give it up again for my husband?
No, absolutely not. The first man.
It is so good to hear our president's voice.
Girl.
Joe, I know you're still on the call.
On the record.
And we've been talking every day.
And then people were like pointing it out on Twitter. It sounded like she said, Joe, we know you're still on the recording. Let's hear it again.
President's voice. Joe, I know you're still on the call.
Hello.
And we've been talking every day. You guys heard it from Doug's voice. We love Joe and Jill. We really do. They truly are like family to us.
I believe you.
And we do.
Not.
Everybody here does.
It's mutual.
Oh my God, stop.
I knew you were still there. You're not going anywhere, Joe.
I'm watching you, kid. I'm watching you, kid. I love you.
I love you, Joe. Oh.
Get a room.
So, Joe, I'm going to recognize some of the electeds who are here, and then I'm going to get back to you. Hold on a second.
Wow, I can't wait. So it's just very sad to see. I really do. Like, I take no joy in all of this because I think it's absolutely disgraceful what the Democrats are doing to their constituents. And even though I have my issues with Democrats in general, just being the people that they are, and the policies that they support, and the tactics that they employ, I still look at them as my fellow Americans, and I still look at them as people. I hate that they're being so disrespected, even though whether or not they know it or not, which it seems like a lot of them don't know it. I don't know. It seems like more people than not are just completely jumping on board with this whole entire thing and not realizing that it's an absolute and utter coup what they're doing, and it should be illegal. So the Heritage Foundation is actually going to put this to the test, and hopefully there will be some pushback from this, with the result being that, you know, the Democrats should have to stick with Biden. They made their bed, now they have to lay in it. And like what I propose is, if they really want to do this, if they really want to circumvent their voters and just disrespect them once again right in their face, either 25th Amendment Biden and make him leave office right now, or you have to stick with him. There's no other way. There's no switcheroo at the last minute. There's no pulling a fast one on everybody and just trying to, you know, tiptoe out of the room like you're not doing anything wrong. You are. They're cheating. They're absolutely cheating, and they are enemies of democracy. They're enemies of this country, and they're enemies of the republic that we currently are supposed to be under, okay? And I'm not talking about Democrat voters. I'm talking about the Democrat elites, the swamp monsters, the members of the Uniparty, okay? They are disgraceful. So we'll see if the Heritage Foundation has any luck with this legal battle, because there's actually several states where, like, the deadline to switch the candidate or to remove a candidate from the ballot has passed, but yet they're still going to try to do this. So this article says, while it's unclear at this time where lawsuits may be filed, the memo released last month suggested there could be litigation in Georgia, Nevada, and Wisconsin if anyone other than Biden is the nominee. Though election law experts have countered that Biden was never officially named the nominee for the Democratic ticket and that his withdrawal comes well before the state's ballot certification deadlines. So it's really perfect timing. You know, funny enough, in between the first debate where Joe Biden did an absolute piss poor job and showed that he was on his deathbed pretty much, and after the RNC where Donald Trump was named the nominee, but yet somehow before the Democrat, the DNC and the Democrat primary and the naming of their nominee for their ticket, Joe Biden somehow decides that he's going to drop out. You know, it's funny how that works, right? So it almost seems like they had this all planned, you know. They had a timeline and they were just waiting it out. They were just hoping that Joe Biden would stay alive long enough to where they could pull off this coup d'etat. But it doesn't change the fact that it's an absolute disgrace. So the Democratic National Convention will be held August 19th through 22nd in Chicago. And I have a feeling that there's going to be some funny business. There's going to be some riots, maybe some, you know, protests. I don't know. I have a feeling that it's not going to go as smoothly as people think it might be going. But we'll see. We'll wait to find out. And, you know, Democrats, they're just, it's not new to them to try to obfuscate and to try to pull this sort of shit over and over again on their voters, and yet somehow their voters remain loyal to them. It's an absolute anomaly to me. It's really beyond my scope of understanding, because it can never, ever be me. I mean, like, the only reason why I consider myself a Republican at this point, or I'm registered Republican, I don't consider myself a Republican, but I'm registered that way, is so that I could vote in the primaries and in order to vote for Donald Trump. But once Donald Trump is out, then, you know, I'm back to being an independent, because I'm over the Uniparty and I'm over all of these people except for Nancy Mace. She's on my good side right now. But, you know, they have a history of this, and we can look back as you know, as early as 2016, but maybe even earlier than that. But to specifically pinpoint 2016, if you guys don't remember, well, there was a little candidate called Bernie Sanders who was actually primed to be the Democrat nominee, because he was gaining a lot of steam. He was actually becoming very, very popular amongst Democrat voters and just becoming a real powerhouse within their party. And that was just not going to happen. Because Hillary had a say, and she was next in line. She had waited all of this time after Obama was elected, where she was kind of, she felt slighted because she felt like she should have been the nominee in 2008 when Obama came in like a damn wrecking ball out of nowhere and really just kind of stole the hearts of everyone with his damn charm and his damn smile and his blackness, you know. And so Hillary Clinton said she wasn't going to let it happen to her again. And basically there was this behind the scenes campaign to just disregard all of the Bernie Sanders supporters and all the Bernie Sanders voters, and to basically earn the delegate from backroom deals and their usual swamp monster shenanigans. So in 2016, Donna Brazile said the 2016 primary was rigged before she said it wasn't. So on Tuesday morning, CBS This Morning anchor Norah O'Donnell asked former Democratic National Committee interim chair Donna Brazile whether the 2016 primary between Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders was a fair fight. I believe it was, responded Donna Brazile. Brazile, you might recall, is the same person who alleges in her book, Hacks, the inside story of the break-ins and breakdowns that put Donald Trump in the White House, that the DNC and the Clinton campaign had cut an unfair deal that disadvantaged Sanders. In exchange for Clinton's help in fundraising, she and her staff were given broad approval and control of the party committee well before she was the formal nominee, Brazile wrote. Here's the key passage from Brazile's piece in Politico last week, which was excerpted from her book that is being released today. I had tried to search out any other evidence of internal corruption that would show that the DNC was rigging the system to throw the primary to Hillary, but I could not find any in party affairs or among the staff. I had gone department by department investigating individual conduct for evidence of skewed decisions, and I was happy to see that I had found none. Then I found this agreement. The funding agreement with Hillary, with HFA, and the Victory Fund agreement was not illegal, but it sure looked unethical. If the fight had been fair, one campaign would not have control of the party before the voters had decided which one they wanted to lead. This is not a criminal act, but as I saw it, it compromised the party's integrity. Hillary Clinton compromising people's integrity and doing borderline criminal activity? You don't say. You don't say. It's so unlike her. So it's absolute, it's just a slap in the face to all of those people. They've been telling you what they're doing. They've been saying that this is what it was, you know, and Bernie supporters were, this is why people say that this is why Hillary Clinton lost the election. Because of the Bernie bros who were absolutely furious that their candidate, who was much more popular and had much more energy than Hillary Clinton ever could hope to, because she's an evil killer bitch. And, you know, so people were pissed. They felt like they had been robbed. They felt like they had been totally discounted, and that their vote and their voice within the party meant nothing. This is when they had a mass exodus of people from the Democrat, you know, establishment party to a more, you know, leftist, kind of independent version of the Democrats, what we see kind of now, like the socialist, Democrat socialists and all that. You know, this is kind of when that happened, because people were so done with it. But yet we're not really seeing the same thing happening now. And to me, this is worse. This is so much worse, because there was no choice. There was absolutely no choice. People voted for Joe Biden. You know, they completely iced R.F. Kennedy Jr. and other candidates who might have wanted to run against Joe Biden in order to just place Kamala Harris exactly when they wanted to place her into that spot. There was no hope for anybody else. If you guys remember, RFKJ wanted to run as a Democrat on the, you know, during the primary season, and was not allowed to. He was not allowed to be on the stage as a candidate to debate Joe Biden. He was not allowed any other person that wanted to run as a Democrat during this past election cycle was absolutely iced out and not able to. And that is disgraceful. So a lot of people were saying that Nancy Pelosi was behind all of this, and I'm very confused by this, because it seems like the party leaders, you know, quote unquote, have all this power, and I don't understand it at all. I really don't. And you often hear about pundits talking about things like this, and I really want to understand it, and I still really kind of don't. But you know, it would seem to me that, like, there is this, I don't know, these, like, people in the government, you know, people like Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi, depending on their fundraising ability and depending on, I guess, who they know and how much blackmail they have on you, you get this level of power where you can kind of move pieces and pull strings behind the scenes and have absolutely no accountability to the American people. These are the people that never get voted out, no matter how unpopular they are. You know, no matter how unpopular Mitch McConnell is, somehow he never gets voted out. No matter how unpopular Nancy Pelosi might be, she never gets voted out because she's just a permanent swamp figure. But she said back in 2019, Speaker Pelosi claims to have as much power as the president and is swiftly fact-checked back down to earth. But the fact-checkers, they just don't know what's really going on here. So these are the type of people who are actually running the government, and it was alleged that Nancy Pelosi was actually had a big hand in getting Joe Biden to drop out, because I believe that he was basically threatened before being put on his deathbed into, you know, oblivion by all of these different people in the Democrat Party with his record, because I would never say that he had a legacy of any sort, but his record being absolutely tarnished, and they were going to destroy him in the media, and they were going to destroy his final years, and they were going to absolutely make him look like a disgrace. And so the pressure campaign was going to be turned all the way up if he did not do what they told him to do. And they might have even started leaking some of his blackmail stuff they had on him. Who knows? Who knows what he was threatened with? But people like this, who are powerful in ways that the American public does not understand, because it's so ingrained and it's so corrupt and so deep that it's really hard to know how far this goes and how mucky this actually gets.
I think this will be what I call a contested convention that's not contested. I've talked to people close to all the other people who are named as potential candidates, and I don't at this point foresee anyone challenging her. Although, again, the desire in her camp is to make this seem as open a process as possible. The delegates will be the one who pick, and they're Biden-Harris delegates. They're aligned with her personally and ideologically. So I suspect, even if challenged, she'll be the nominee. And I don't right now see any major challenge to her.
How did this come about? Because for weeks now, all we've heard from the White House is he's not going anywhere. Only if God Almighty comes down and tells him to drop out will he go. He teetered a little bit on it this past week, saying, well, if there were a medical condition, and then there was the announcement of COVID. But what did it, Mark?
Well, I'm still reporting that out. I think the money was a big issue. I think Nancy Pelosi made it clear there'd be no money for this campaign. And you can't run a presidential campaign with no money. You can run with less on the other side, but not with no money. That was part of it. And part of it was the data, although his campaign liked to downplay how badly his position had deteriorated.
Which, this is my thing. It's like, how does Nancy Pelosi dictate the money for the Democrat Party? I need to understand more of why this is the case and why this is how our politics go. Why is it's absurd to me that people pundits just sit up here and talk about this like this. Like, this is not a problem. Why is this happening? Why does this, and this is the norm. So it's not just like new. I mean, I'm just late to the party, I guess, realizing just how fucked up our politics actually are. Because of shit like this. Why is there an 83-year-old drunk woman who's damn near on her own deathbed, the one who gets to dictate what happens in Joe Biden's campaign? She just stepped down as speaker and as party leadership not too long ago. What are you doing, Nancy? Aren't you supposed to be 5 glasses deep into a bottle of vodka in your office somewhere? Why are you in the mix of what's going to happen with the presidential nominee and that level of goings on within the Democrat Party? Does nobody else think this is odd or suspicious or very weird that we allow this sort of thing to happen where, pundits are up here saying that, like, party leadership is the one who is dictating to a supposed president whether or not he needs to get out of a race? I mean, it's actually crazy to me. It's actually insane.
It had deteriorated in their own polling quite a bit, I'm told. And then the Democrats, he was going to potentially drag down an electoral college wipeout.
Good.
And remember, it's important to remember, Megan, as I know you know, before the debate, he had one path to 270 electoral votes. It was exactly 270. And it involved no margin of error, winning Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Nebraska's Omaha congressional district. No one's ever won the White House with one path to 270. So he had a weak position. It's deteriorated dramatically. And the Democrats who were telling him to get out were looking at an electoral college landslide and with implications for down ballot. Everyone can talk at length about the risks of this change, about the electoral questions about Kamala Harris, but the alternative was doom. They'll take chaos and risk over doom.
You tweeted out earlier today as follows, as he was digging in his heels publicly. If an angry and defiant Joe Biden tries to hold on by running out the clock, Speaker Pelosi will have to raise the pain quotient to unimaginable levels. Veteran Pelosi watchers believe that is what she will do, starting as early as today. What was behind that?
Well, I don't know exactly what happened. I hope to be able to report it out and see exactly what was communicated. But as we saw on Friday, there were many more Democrats who came out, but still a tiny percentage of Democrats who thought Joe Biden should step aside had publicly said that. And you started to see, for instance, in the op-ed piece in the Boston Globe by Congressman Moulton, who's very close to Joe Biden, talking about the loss of mental acuity, you started to see what I think would have been a campaign to turn up the pressure on the president, to make it so painful for him to stay that he would have no choice but to turn. And I think Nancy Pelosi and others masterfully orchestrated this to turn up the pain just enough as a preview of coming attractions to say to Joe Biden, do it your way, or we can do it the hard way. And he didn't want to go through it the hard way, particularly when his donors, much of his staff, many of his congressional allies already made it clear to him directly or indirectly, you should not go forward because you cannot win and you'll bring down the Democratic Party.
What turned the tide, Mark, as far as we know? Because, in the days after the debate, they were 100% dug in and they had almost seemed to tamp down the furor over him. And then Pelosi opened the dam back up on Morning Joe that Thursday after the debate saying, well, we need to let him decide, after he had said repeatedly, I've decided. So what turned? Do we know?
Fundraising, polling, and political support. All of those went very far south, further south than is publicly known. And it wasn't sustainable.
And so do you think that ultimately it was Nancy Pelosi who was behind this?
Yes. Not alone, but no one else. She was the person who had to be behind it. She's the only one with the political skill, the freedom, because she's no longer leading a divided caucus, because there were people in the caucus, in the House and the Senate, who wanted to keep him in, or at least said so. And because she's Joe Biden's friend, and therefore had the authority to basically threaten him.
Wow.
And there doesn't seem to be much pushback from Obama, Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, or others. I mean, it doesn't seem like, at least behind the closed doors, they disagreed with her.
No, they all agreed wholeheartedly. And again, you got to go back 3 weeks. They thought this was a nightmare 3 weeks ago before the debate. And so this is an extraordinary story. It truly is. And again, no one has told the full story of what exactly happened. But you didn't have any leader who was for him. What you had, though, were people like Bernie Sanders and Kristen Gillibrand and others who were still for Joe Biden publicly. And that made it complicated, because as long as he could cherry pick a poll that looked good for him, as long as he could say, hey, this person's still for me, he could go forward, until Nancy Pelosi made it clear he could not.
Wow.
She's the most powerful person in Democrat politics. That seems clear. She just released a statement that reads in part, his legacy of vision, values, and leadership make him one of the most consequential presidents in American history. She made no mention of Kamala Harris. What does that mean?
Well, the speaker, I think, would rather have a different nominee, but it's just not plausible for a variety of reasons to think about a different nominee. And again, there's a school of thought that says, even if you love Kamala Harris, even if you think she'd be a great person to beat Trump, and even if you think she'd be a great president, and there's plenty of doubts across the board in portions of the Democratic Party about those things, even if you think all those things, better to not have her be the establishment candidate. Better to make it appear, even though I don't think she'll be challenged, that she's doing this on her own. And that's why, if you want to make a charitable read of the speaker's not mentioning her, that would be it. The other reason is part of the way they got Joe Biden out of this, I believe, was to make it clear that he would be celebrated as a great president and a historically generous figure like George Washington stepping away from power. And I think they want this to be his day. It's possible she'll endorse him tomorrow, to endorse Kamala Harris tomorrow.
And she did. She's since come out and actually endorsed Kamala, and it is absolutely. I mean, do you guys get it yet? Do y'all understand? Because I get it. I finally do actually now get it, even though I don't fully understand why our politics is this way just yet. I mean, I still need to understand how these people get chosen and how these people come to have so much power over the funding and all of that piece of it. But I finally get it that this is truly a selection process and a process of, power, and whoever they deem is necessary to achieve their goals, that's who they're going to put into place. Not who the American public want. No. Not who gets the most votes and who is the most popular with the, American populace. No. It's all about a select group of people with the most money and the most power choosing and getting to decide what happens. And that's just loathsome. It's absolutely beyond what our country was founded upon and what we're supposed to be upholding as a principle. And I'm disgraced by this whole thing. I really am. So yeah, this is what's going on, guys. And so I'm just blown away at the people on Twitter, all the politicians calling Joe Biden a hero for this, singing his praises, saying he's one of the most consequential presidents of, American history, just trying to really lay it on thick, because that was the deal. It was either, get disgraced in public and by everyone in the media, 24/7 until you basically fold, or we can all sing your praises and call you a great, nice grandpa-like figure who was the best president to ever exist, and you're like George Washington and all that. And so Joe Biden, I guess, with a gun to his head, made his choice. So now we have this absolute buffoon of a person who they're going to try to shove down everyone's throat. And by the way, there was supposed to be a meeting with this little fucker right here, Netanyahu, that was canceled because Joe Biden's fine and all, but they actually canceled the meeting where Netanyahu flew in specifically to have this meeting with Joe Biden. It was supposed to be on Tuesday. So that is no more, guys. So that's how you know it's going well, when our greatest ally can't even get the damn meeting that he flew on this little Jew jet from Israel to come and speak to President about. Again, every time I say President Joe Biden, just know that there's quotation marks around that president. Okay, so now they're going to try to force feed us this absolute retard, and I just want to go over some of Kamala Harris's greatest hits before we get out of here.
Because as we all know, elections matter. And when folks vote, they order what they want. And in this case, they got what they asked for.
What else do we know about this population, 18 through 24? They are stupid. They are stupid.
Girl. Ow.
It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day.
Based on what we've just been able to see, and because we've seen it or not doesn't mean it hasn't happened. And talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time in terms of what we need to do. And there is such great significance to the passage of time. We must together work together to see where we are, where we are headed, where we are going, and our vision for where we should be.
Oh my God.
But also see it as a moment, yes, to together address the challenges. Do not come. Do not come. Right? Because we have the ability to see what can be, unburdened by what has been, and then to make the possible
That's the one right there.
actually happen. Are those who are unable to see what can be,
Oh yeah.
but there are many more who are able to see what can be unburdened by what has been.
Oh my God.
So Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. So basically that's wrong.
This issue of transportation is fundamentally about just making sure that people have the ability to get where they need to go. Space is exciting. It spurs our imaginations, and it forces us to ask big questions. Space, it affects us all. It gives us a sense of the magnitude of it all. Earth is kind of small, right? The Earth is like a speck compared to the sun. I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. You know? What can be unburdened by what has been. 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 What we can see, what we believe can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. I have a particular fondness, I must tell you, for electric school buses. I love electric school buses. I was proud to introduce the first piece of legislation to electrify our nation's fleet of school buses. I'm excited about electric school buses. I love electric school buses. I just love them for so many reasons. Maybe because I went to school on a school bus. Hey, raise your hand if you went to school on a school bus. Right?
No. It's a no. I'm telling you.
Just
I'm not doing it.
She had to be drunk.
Yeah, I mean, if you're drunk, I'd like her more. That would work for me.
So yeah, guys, it's looking bleak. It's looking freaking bleak. Okay, if you're alive out there, can you hear me? What is going on in America? SOS. Okay, if the aliens are out there and they can hear us, it's time. Jesus, please, we need the second coming now. Okay. It's getting bad out here. It's getting real shady. It's getting real reckless. It's getting real dodgy. So what do you guys think about all of it? I want to know your thoughts in the comments down below. Please like the video if you like it. And comment and subscribe and do all of the things. Guys, you know the freaking things. So do the things. And until next time, I will see you guys later. And bye.
I just tell the truth. And telling the truth is crazy in a world full of lies. If you mix brilliance with bravery, that we can ignite something. Even this conversation alone can ignite the people.
The time is now to express and for people to believe in themselves. The time is now for it to be okay to be great. People in this world shun people for being great, for being a bright color, for standing out. But the time is now to be okay to be the greatest you.